my colleague, Mr. Weber, for an opening statement.
Thank you, Chairman Lamb, for holding today's subcommittee hearing. I'm looking forward to hearing from our witnesses. Mr. Stein, we're glad you could join us about the value of the state of solar and wind technologies in the U.S. and about DOE's clean energy research, development, demonstration, and commercialization activities in these areas. Solar and Wind RD is funded through the Department's Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, or EERE. After substantial growth during the Obama administration, EERE is by far the largest applied research program. At almost $2.4 billion with a B dollars in annual funding, EERE is bigger today than the funding provided for research in fossil energy, nuclear energy, electricity, and cybersecurity combined. The research programs for solar and wind also expanded during this unprecedented growth in spending. So I'm a little surprised to see my colleagues on the other side of the aisle propose legislation to grow these offices even more, with an almost 60% increase in spending for wind R&D and almost 30% increase in solar R&D. Now, I want to be clear. I'm very supportive of DOE funding for innovative research in new solar and new wind technologies. Most of you will know Texas is a leader in wind energy. I'm also supportive of the kind of basic research like advanced computing, machine learning, and advanced manufacturing, and the development of new materials that benefits not just solar and wind, but all forms of energy technologies. But we need to take a responsible and balanced approach to energy research and ensure that federal investments go towards work that truly could not be accomplished by the private sector. Let me add, in the private sector, business is booming for wind and solar. Did I mention Texas is a leader in that? Last year, American renewable energy produced a record 742 million megawatt hours of electricity. Now, Mr. Chairman, you said that it was 8.2%. Our stats show 18% of the U.S. electricity generation. Maybe we need to add those two, get 26, divide by 2, and we get 13% of the electricity generation, and double its production, by the way, from a decade ago. Great progress is being made. This significant increase is almost entirely due to the incorporation of additional wind and solar power. Today, we're going to hear good news from our friends in these thriving industries that there are over 500 American factories building wind turbine parts, that a record 114,000 Americans have jobs supporting the wind industry, and that there are currently 250,000 Americans working in the $17 billion solar industry. It is abundantly clear that consumer demand is already driving increased deployment of these technologies. After all, this is what the industry is good at. But the private sector cannot conduct the fundamental research that lays the foundation for the next generation and the next technological breakthrough. That means focusing our federal programs on innovative technologies that are not already commercially deployed. For example, at the Center for Next Generation of Materials Design, led by National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NREL, researchers work on advancing computational materials designed to discover new, novel materials. By pursuing this breakthrough through science in materials, we can fundamentally improve the performance of solar energy technologies. With our national debt at over $20 trillion and rising, and mandatory spending caps guiding budgets on everything from energy to national defense, we simply cannot afford to increase the spending in every program. So we need to focus our efforts on truly groundbreaking research. Let us not duplicate the efforts of American industry. By prioritizing fundamental research with broad application to all forms of energy, we can enable the private sector to build innovative market, reduce energy cost, and grow the American technology. And Mr. Chairman, one more time, thank you. I'm going to yield back. Appreciate you doing that.